We are.
Hello. Hello. Hi. Okay, we finally meet. We finally meet. Okay, just my camera. So how are you, Merman Onyx? How are you doing over there?
Great, great. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great. It's very sunny today. It's like very hot. How about you? Oh, it's nighttime.
Yeah, but it's still super hot here. It was like 104 here today.
Wow,
Yeah,
104. Well, that's high.
yeah. I'm still
So
like,
you're sweating.
yeah.
Okay, Merman Onyx, I'm so glad to have you on board today. I'm so excited for my Mer-Series. So, okay, let's start, shall we?
Sure.
Okay, sure. Oh, that's a nice room that you have.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
I can see the
yeah.
background. I love that. It's really nice. Okay, so hi, Mermaid Onyx. So can you tell us more about yourself and is your real name really Onyx? Yeah,
No, no. My real name is Brandon. You know,
Brandon. Yeah, Brandon.
typical American-ish name. Yeah. No, it's not creative at all.
Okay. It's very typical here as well, Brandon. We also have Brandons in Malaysia as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are you originally from and what do you do as a background?
So I'm originally from California, San Francisco, East Bay, born and raised. Yeah, everything is pretty much happened out here between San Francisco and about 45 minutes out. I've never really ventured out of that space. There's so much to do here. It's its own little microcosm. We have our own little words and specific personalities to California, Northern California. Kind of like we're raised by hippies kind of thing. Yeah, but anyway, born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. I work in financial services. I have a background in art. I went to school for photography, fine art photography, um, many moons ago. I no longer do that. Uh, yeah, I am a business owner in the Bay Area. Me and my partner own a business where we sell vintage goods and repurposed furniture. We paint furniture, and it's a creative business. You kind of, as a creative person, you kind of make everything in your world special because you see something and you're like, I could do something with that, and make a living at it. So you try to separate the two and mix the two together so you're happy in what you do.
So you
So
mentioned that you have never traveled beyond your bubble of where you stay. You never like explore out. You always stay in California. I mean in San Francisco. Like
as far as living, yes, I have explored a little bit. I've traveled a little bit.
okay.
um, Only been out of the US once. I went to Thailand. We were there for about 10 days.
Which part of Thailand? Is
Beautiful.
it Bangkok? Bangkok or
Yeah, we were
oh I've been
in
there.
Bangkok for a
Love
few
that.
days. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're doing a business right now with your partner and is this like your full-time business like in addition
Uh,
to yeah, to your
no.
mermaiding or mermaining?
No. So my full-time occupation is I work in banking. That's how I make sure the bills are paid, and there's no stress because I have a guaranteed, money coming in. Um, my business is really, that's how I afford mermaiding,
Yeah.
and all
You
the
need to
other,
do something, yeah, to afford
yeah.
it. I understand. Yeah. Because I've talked to a lot of mermaids and mermans, they can't do mermaiding as their full-time job because they do something like the other time I was speaking to mermaid Echo, she has a day job, so she can't do mermaiding full time. So it's just like her hobby, and so yeah. So okay, I would just like to introduce a bit about myself. So I'm an author. I write books, And part of the reason that I'm doing Mer-Series is because I'm writing a book about mermaids and merboys. And I have people coming to me telling me that they're interested to know more about mermaids and merboys because it's not very, very common. And people are surprised. People are surprised to know that they actually exist. I mean, that actually there's such things as mermaiding. People actually dress up as mermaids and, you know, take photos, do conservation and stuff. So it's very interesting. So that's the reason that I wanted to interview and have conversations with people about mermaiding. So I think it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am from Malaysia, so I hope one day to visit you in San Francisco. Is that
Come on down.
so? Okay, let's talk about something icebreaker. Like, what is your favorite music?
uh, I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place. Normally, I'm like, you know, I'm a rocker, electronic music. I really like, kind of dark wave, Nine Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson. But then I go to, like new age music and classical. It's just, I like, if it has a good rhythm, has good energy with it, I'm probably going to enjoy it. So I'm not
You
really
know what?
tied down to any particular style or anything like that. But
I'm very old school. I kind of like something mellow. Like sometimes I like songs from the 70s, 80s, to chill. So I'm quite
yeah,
mellow. So
yeah,
I have heard quite a lot. But I used to love one song, but then I find out that I have a huge repertoire. So I actually love old school kind of songs. Yeah.
yeah.
What is your favorite quote in life?
Mm, wow. I'm not well read. I think the Celestine Prophecy was the last one I read. Um, I don't sit down long enough um, to really get involved in something like that. Um, something has to really spark my interest in the topic or the subject for me to stick with it. So, but yeah, that's probably the last thing that I've done. I like kind of self-help, metaphysical kind of stuff. Um, yeah, things like that. I also read about um, like herbs and like medicine, like natural homeopathic medicines, things like those are things that interest me. I'm just all over the place, and it's
My dad loves to do herbs. He also does that as well. He's crazy about
Mhm.
herbs. I don't understand his world, but he has a lot of herbs, and I'd say, what is that? I have no idea because I'm not really into that kind of thing, so I have no idea what he's doing. But he's crazy about it.
Yeah, yeah,
For,
yeah,
for for me, when it comes to quotes, I don't really pick quotes from like books or anything. It's something to do with like my life around me, my friends. Most of the quotes that I've actually lived by is actually from what I hear around me. Like people say to me, like people have
yes,
told me that you only have one shot in life. If you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? Are you going to do it when you're 60 years old, 70 years old? So actually that quote is very strong and powerful, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to go and publish my books. Because if it wasn't for that quote, I would have never done what I'm doing right now. And another
yeah,
quote that I really think is really strong is if something is happening to you, bad things or whatever, is happening for you. So I have some bad things happening to me, and I'm like asking God sometimes, like, why, why? But I realized that it's actually to shape me, to make me better. So it's really I'm grateful for things that happen to me. So I look at things in a different perspective. So I live by that. And
yeah.
that quote is actually something that I heard from a friend. So I don't usually read quotes from books or classics or whatever. It's like all around me. So it's pretty interesting to
Yes,
have
yes,
all
and
this around you. Yeah. And what is your favorite food?
my favorite food. Wow. I'm a foodie, but unfortunately, I have a lot of dietary restrictions. So all the things that I love, I can't necessarily have. And I find as I age, I'm not able to have a lot of things. Like when I was growing up, I cut all dairy out because one of my coaches was like, "Hey, you know, you need to cut out all the dairy." Basically said, you know, cut that out of your diet and, you know, things should improve. So I stopped eating dairy and now I can't eat dairy, nothing at all. Um, no gluten, you know, I have all these weird things. But what I love to eat, besides everything, I think I could probably live on probably like a good like Thai like curry because you
Oh,
can throw so many
love
different
that.
things
Yeah,
in there
love Thai
and the
food.
flavors are so full and yeah,
Yeah.
that would be yeah.
You know, the thing that hits me was is that this I'm the same. I also watch what I eat as I grow older. When I was younger, like in my teens or in my college years, I was like eating everything. And the
Hmm.
funny thing is that I never grow fat.
Yes, yes.
That's the funny thing because I think I had very high metabolism when I was younger, and so I at KFC, you know, everything in my way. And but now, as I grow older, I kind of watch what I eat because like I do love ice cream. Ice cream is my favorite. And I try to watch what I eat because so my family side, some of them like they have like diabetes, so
Yes.
I'm very conscious about that. I don't have it, but I do watch it as I grow older. But so once a week, I will just have ice cream. I don't eat it every day. Yeah, so
Mhm.
pretty much. And what is your favorite movie?
Favorite movie. Let's see. I don't know. There's a few, and there for me it's more about the visuals, maybe not so much about the subject matter. Really, well, I guess that is too. I like dark things, vampires, werewolves. Um, I love the I don't know. I'm trying to think of one that really like stands out in my mind. Um, I like Pan's Labyrinth. That one is really good. It's really dark, but the costuming and the visuals is so like you instantly know like what it is you're seeing and maybe like who's done it. Um, yeah, anything Tim Burton. Um, yeah,
I love
but
Tim Burton. Yeah, love
yeah,
it.
those are the things that I kind of gravitate towards. So
I used to love movies. Like I do have specific ones that I love. Like I love movies that actually make you think and that have impact on you on your soul. But nowadays, because I'm watching Netflix right now, and I just think that they have such a deluge of movies. Like they come out, you don't have time to watch everything, and sometimes it's just don't do you watch Netflix or you watch other streaming?
yeah, Netflix from time to time. Yeah, we'll dive in there.
Yeah, I do realize that they have a lot every week, so I cannot keep up. There's too much of
Yes.
it. I
Yes.
like the old days when things are slow, but now you have so many things. So actually, quite a lot of them are quite good, and some of them are really bad, like really bad. So I don't really have one, but if there is one, I think that has is really nice. That stuck to my mind is Breaking Bad. It's a drama series.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I've
has a good
watched
storyline,
many.
and I don't love drug movies. I don't like to watch those dark drug movies, but Breaking Bad is different because of the way they portray the characters. So it's very strong and impactful. So I like it. Yeah, the
Yeah.
storytellers are really great doing their job. And what
Yeah.
is your favorite sea creature?
Favorite sea creature. Ooh. Um, I don't know. I think there's something really beautiful about sharks in general. I really like the bull shark. They're aggressive. They can be found in freshwater and saltwater, and I kind of like I love that about them. they're just, I don't know. There's just something like mysterious about them to me. The fact that they can be found like everywhere, you know, they're not just like, you know, you go in the ocean and you know, might come across one. If you come across one, probably shouldn't be in the area. Be very cautious about your movements and things because they're like, you know, they're very receptive to everything. You know, they're taking in so much information, and I don't know. That's kind of what pops in my head. Yeah.
You know what's
Well,
the
sharks too.
fascinating that what fascinates me about sharks is that when I was young, I was terrified of them because of the movie Jaws.
Yes.
But as I grew up, I kind of find them very interesting and mysterious, and it's just like there's something like untouchable, like they're so alluring in that sense. So I mean, they're kind of scary when I was young, but as I grew older, I kind of grew out of it, and I actually even kind of like them in a way. So I actually wrote about them in my first book. I actually included them in a scene where they attack people, but like kind of like a mutation
Okay.
scene. So actually, yeah. So I did used to be kind of a bit fascinated, but I just think that I love dolphins because they are very calm and relaxing, and I know it's very cheesy. I know it's very cheesy, but I really love them in that way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're so smart. Like you just like, yeah, that and killer whales, like octopus. There's so many. There's just like, yeah.
What?
And
For killer whales and sharks, I'll be like watching from a safe distance. I don't mind in a cage. In a cage, I'm okay with that. Yeah. So okay, so now let's dive into a more like serious topic. Okay, how did it all start for you, mermaiding? For girls, I'll say mermaids, but for men, I'll say mermaiding.
yeah.
How did all of that actually start for you, and what actually inspired you to do that?
Um, well, I've always been kind of interested in it. Growing up, I mean, I was swimming from probably before I could even walk. I had a strong military dad, and he was very concerned that his sons could survive. It was all about survival and knowing your surroundings, and um, so we grew up around water. He was a crazy fisherman, up all mornings, out fishing. He would bring home these huge catches. They'd be out on the driveway, he'd be cleaning fish in the neighborhood. People would come over and chat him up, and he'd, be passing out, his spoils for the day. But yeah, that's being around water, and you're attached to his side, as a young child. He wanted to make sure you were safe anywhere you were with him. So we had to learn how to swim. We didn't have a choice. So being in the water has always been something that made me comfortable and something that I was very comfortable with. Doesn't really happen a lot in the Black community, just due to simple access. And a lot of our community, they don't know how to swim, just due to the fact they didn't have access to pools or, bodies of water that were safe. So that was something that, I was raised with and just kept moving forward with that. That was my comfort zone. As far as wearing a tail, every once in a while I would see these images of mermen, specifically mermen, that would come into my feed through Facebook or from a friend posting or something. And I remember seeing Eric in a tail, Mertailor, and seeing his designs, and I was like blown away, like wow, like I didn't know it was like this was a thing. And then I saw some tails that Finfolk had done. It was their first release of their fabric tails, and you know me, being a creative person, doing photography, working with models and things like that, I was like, and I hadn't done it in a while, had put my equipment away and I was like, I'm done with this. This chapter is done. But I kept seeing these beautiful images and I'm like, I want to do that. I want to create that. And so I purchased my first fabric tale when they did their first release of their fabric tales. So I got one there. And then from there, I just kept buying and buying and buying. Um, and I didn't, use them for shoots or anything. And then I started to use them myself. I'm like, you know what? I want to see what this is about. I want to swim in it. So I put on the monofin and I just kind of like tested the waters, and then I was like, wow, this isn't, I didn't find it difficult. And, the movement was just so, beautiful and rhythmic. So when I was competing in swimming, I was a butterflyer. So the movement, the dolphin kick, is very familiar to me. It's in my muscle memory, and so it was. I don't know. The transition was really easy for me, and once you see someone actually swim in it, you're just like you're hooked. From there, it's like done. You're done. And things are so pretty. Finfolk makes beautiful things, and yeah, that's where I started. For me, it was about purchasing a prop, and then that prop just became part of me. It was like a natural progression. I've always been in the water, and this made it kind of married everything together. But yeah,
Actually, I can relate. I can relate with you in that sense. Like you say, when you were young, one of the reasons because you were in the water. The same goes for me. When I was young, I went to the beach, and I recall loving that feeling when you're in the water. And there's like a time that I felt like I was a fish, like I had like fish tails and everything. So that's what like made me love being in the water because of my childhood time spent at the beach in the pool. So when you're in the water, it just feels like you're in a different dimension, in a different
yeah.
world. Like you're like cut off from everyone else and you're in your own lane, in your own world. So it's a very thrilling, interesting feeling that I have. And you also mentioned that you spend a lot on Mertels. Do you buy a lot actually? Do you really spend a lot on them?
um, I would say no. My husband would say yes, but whatever. It is what it is. Whether I'm buying shoes, buying watches, or buying a tail, it's all the same. It's something different. Ladies buy purses. I'll buy a tail. I used to buy really expensive shoes. I don't do that anymore. I buy tails, or I buy really expensive photography equipment. It's all the same. It's all the same to me.
What is the most expensive tail that you ever bought? Like what's the price?
My Dimitri Arch tail was probably the most expensive one. So far, I'm sure it'll probably get worse as I get more creative on what I want, because finding a good tail maker that can bring your vision to life, even to breathe life into something that you may have an idea, but he's able to like elevate that so much, is rare to find and can be expensive. But yes, I have spent quite a lot on tails. I won't say how much,
Okay.
but definitely spent a lot. All of my Finfolk tails together don't equal the amount I've spent on his tail, but they keep producing more colorful and beautiful styles, and you know what? It's just like it's money. You worked for it. Why not use it? It makes you happy.
This is
It's
your
fun.
passion, of course. It makes you happy. Do what
Yes.
you love to do. Yeah. So what is your biggest fear about the sea? What is your
My
biggest
biggest
fear?
fear about the sea. For me, like a really like when you're in the open ocean, and the water gets really, really dark. That's my fear. Because just like you said, Jaws, right? Everyone has that burned into their mind about this big great white shark, coming for you. That is one of my biggest fears. When we were in Maui a few years ago, we went out to, I'm going to say it wrong, I'll just say the crater, right? They have this big crater out in the ocean. And so the dive boat takes you out there, you jump off, you get in the water, you're swimming around. Salt water makes you really buoyant, so you get really comfortable really fast, right? And if you're a swimmer or a strong swimmer, you're just going to go for it, right? So I'm just swimming along, following the fish, and then I realized, the color of the water has changed, and it got really, really dark. Basically, I swam way out into the ocean. Again, because you're so buoyant, you just don't realize it. And, I'm panicking, right? The boat's so far away, and I'm out there by myself in the ocean, and the water was dark. And so that's all I was thinking about. And at that time, the whales were like, it's like breeding season, birthing season for them. And so the ocean was really noisy. It was just like, it was an experience. So,
Yeah. I know I'm going to give like sharks a bad rap. I also have fear of sharks, like because of the movie Jaws. Is when I was young, when I go to the ocean, I will have, that the theme song of Jaws, like
yes.
it's like so. But like I said, I grew up of that, so that was one of my fear of the sea. But now I think it's kind of silly to think about it. And like what you mentioned, like when you're in the open sea and there's no one around you, what I've learned about that is that never ever swim alone, even though you
Yes.
think it's safe. Because I've seen a lot of news, and it really happened in my community as well. There is one lady, she actually went scuba diving alone, and she actually was lost. And a few days later, they recovered her body. She drowned. So I've heard a lot of these stories before. So one of the lessons I learned is that when you go like to the sea, the ocean, you scuba dive, make sure you dive in a pair or
Yes.
in a group. So some people have that adventurous spirit. They want to do it alone, but there's always a risk involved. So that's what I've learned. Hearing those tales is kind of scary. It gives me like the goosebumps. But yeah,
Yes.
what
Yes.
do you love? What do you actually love about the sea?
What I love about the sea, I love the energy of the sea, the constant movement, and the fact that it's like it's alien. It's relatively alien to us, There's so many creatures, and that I mean, just because we're land based, right? And you look around, and we're used to seeing these things, but you look in the sea, and it's like a completely. It just looks so alien, and I don't know. I get a kick out of that. Just things that are just completely different, but just so beautiful and unique.
I
Yeah.
will use the word ethereal. You say alien, but I use the word ethereal. It looks very
Yes.
ethereal. I mean,
Yes.
it's like a completely different world than where we stay. And one of the things I love about the ocean is I when I had I'm feeling stressed out when I go to the beach, when I hear that the ocean waves crashing against the
Mhm.
shore, that really is very cathartic to me. I feel a sense of tranquility, peace. So I love that about the ocean. I don't know what is the magic, but that's the real magic of the ocean that you can't explain. So I
Yes.
just love being there. Okay, now let's go to something that I think people are interested to know about your love life.
Uh, uh-oh. Okay.
Okay,
Um,
I'm just going to read a quote that you mentioned in your IG. Okay, this is the
mhm.
what you say. Um, if I had to choose between breathing and loving you, I would use my last breath to say I love you. So you mentioned this on your IG, and you put a very beautiful picture of you and I would say your husband. Um,
Yeah. It's that
so
one. Yeah.
yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah. So how did you guys actually met? Like how did it happen?
Um, we met through a friend. Or at we were at a club. I was at a club. He had came in with one of my good friends, one of my best friends growing up, and they were doing community outreach for gay youth in the Bay Area, and so East Bay Area, and so they had, I guess, come from one of their like group meetings or whatever, and came to the club, and that's where basically I lived. Um, with my group of friends, my club friends at the time. Um, yeah, and basically, my friend introduced us. And the first time I met him, I was like, oh, he's all right, whatever. Um, and then the like 2 weeks later, they came back and we actually talked, and I was like, oh wow, he's like really cool and everything. And we hit it off. Went on our first date like the next 2 days later, and have been together ever since. Yeah.
Who's the one who popped the question? Is it you or him? Who's the one who started it?
Um, um,
Who's the initiator?
well, I did just 3 years ago, um, because we've been together so long that it was just like, yeah, we're gonna do this. We made plans. We literally like planned our entire wedding. We booked the hotel. It was just this whole big production because that's who I am. Um, and then we didn't go through with it. Life happened. Family members got ill and passed, and the laws changed because we've been together that long. So marriage wasn't legal, then it was legal, then it wasn't, and then it was legal again. So that whole thing happened. And then, it just, my thing is like sometimes people need to hear, even though you assume something is the way it is, sometimes people need to hear the words. So that's when I proposed, 3 years now ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course he said yes. Thank God he said yes, because I mean we have a house and families and everything is all mixed now because we've been together forever. Um,
Forever as in how long? How long is that? How long are you
so
guys together?
21 years now, 21 and a half
Wow,
now. Yeah,
that's long. And just popped the
yeah,
question 3 years ago.
exactly. Yes, that's what I'm like.
That's
When,
so
when we
long.
did it, yeah, when we did it, it was like finally, yeah, we're finally gonna do it. So yeah,
Okay, finally, you took the courage to do it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because 21 years ago, there were, I think gay marriage is not legalized, right? It's not
exactly.
legalized yet at the time. Yeah. But about this whole gay marriage, my country is still not open to it yet. So I'm hoping to see that more countries are getting as progressive as your state. And California legalizes marriage. So I'm hoping to see that in my country and slowly. But I don't think this will happen in our generation because it really takes a generation for like change. Unless people perpetuate change, then it will happen. I don't think it
Yeah.
will happen in my lifetime, but I really, really hope so. I really hope to see that. Yeah, that will be a good thing. There'll be a very happy thing for all the LGBTQ community around the world. Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
hope. Okay, so there's another quote that you mentioned. Even when life seems impossible, the brilliant light inside yourself is enough to see your way through your own darkest nights. Now, I believe that you wrote this quote because you went through something. What was the experience like to have that? Yeah.
Um, I think there's so many things that happen in life that that pull you down. I mean, it could be work related, it could be family, friends. There's so many different things that come at you at different times. For me, I think the lowest I've ever been. Marriage, right? So I come from a very religious family, um, and Southern Baptist. I mean, it's like strict. Um, our both of our families are from Arkansas area and in the United States, which is not very progressive. Even though we live in California, our families have deep roots in so much that is, to say it nicely. Just all those negative things that you see in the world, that's where our families came from, whether it be racism, sexism, homophobia. Those things are definitely part of the fabric of our families. My partner is white, I'm black, right? So right there, and Southern families, didn't necessarily mix very well, but our families like actually love each other. It's weird to see the mix that our household brings together with our families. It, I love it. It's very unique. It's an experience. New people coming in, they just kind of sit back and kind of look around, and they're like, "Whoa, what is happening here? Like I've never seen this." The color within our families, and I'm not referring to skin, just the personalities that come forward at our gatherings, because all of our families come to our house for the holidays. So it's just I think it's a beautiful thing, but it was definitely a challenge when we first decided to get married. I got a really strong had a really strong conversation with my parents regarding their faith and their view of what we were doing, and they were not for it at all. And at that point, it was a very low point for me because we put our parents on a pedestal, right? They're these beings that are like perfect in a lot of sense, and I really felt that with my family. Although they are not perfect at all, I held them at a really high standard. And to know that number one, yes, I knew they loved me, but the fact that they thought that I was less than or not a complete person, or that I was, basically going to hell, right, for having love for another man. It was a very strong conversation where, unfortunately, I didn't really have a voice. Right, we're taught to respect our elders, and I didn't want to be confrontational. But at that point, it made me feel very low. I would talk to my parents like once or twice a day, and for a long time, we just did not talk. I find within our community that at in order to survive, we have to eliminate the negative things in our life or the things that constantly pull us down. And it took me a while to know that, the power that I have to within myself, the light that I have um, is brighter, and I have light to spare. And so if I need to light the way for someone else, then, you have that in you, and and that's I feel it's kind of like like my responsibility to do that. They have one view of me, but as a person I haven't changed, and to make them see that and understand that there's fault in their view, what they feel, and what they believe. um, I felt it was my job to shed a light on that, because we don't always have those people in our community who are walking in their truth. So that's we're way past that now. Um, Thankfully, we're past that, but it took a while to get there, and being in a dark place, sometimes it takes time, but you do have it within you to get better. It's a matter of I like the quote. I think it's like a military thing, but you improvise, you adapt, and you overcome. And so you just gotta pivot and adjust your life so that you become a whole being, and you're able to shine and to be the way for other people. So
So
yeah.
you mentioned that initially your parents were not really open to that idea.
Mhm.
What was that moment that made them accept it? Like, okay, you know what, we're just going to accept it? What was that trigger or that moment, that defining moment? What was that moment?
For me, I really think it's about again walking in your truth. I didn't hide from it. I made sure that they knew exactly what was going on in my life and who was a part of my life. My friends, my close friends, um, my partner's family, my partner. We made sure that we were available, and that and we answered the hard questions. You know, it's easy to walk away from something. I think it's harder to revisit the situation and make sure that there is clarity and understanding on both ends, where they're coming from and where I'm coming from, and how what they do affects me and how what I do affects them. You know, that moment for me when um, I saw them coming around is when I started to come around more. I what is it? Absence makes the heart grow fonder, right?
Okay.
When I started to come back around, because I was really involved in my parents' life, and then I just stopped, you know,
And
and so
I felt it, yeah.
yeah, and they totally felt it. So if I went away, then all of this joy goes away, and because you're their child. They're gonna love you. They may not understand what's happening or why you are the way you are, but making them understand that you're still the same person is sometimes a challenge because all they see is what other people um, are giving them as far as feedback and their opinion, of you. But when you show up and you are authentically you and unapologetically you, it makes people take notice. So it's all about your character and who you are. So they can't dispute that.
So how about
Yeah.
your husband's side of the family? Are they as open? Are they open, or they also like your parents at first? Oh, okay, I'm not open to this whole idea. How about your husband's parents? Or they're very open in the beginning?
Um, well, for his side, he has a gay uncle, so
Okay.
they were already exposed to it. Um, and unfortunately, he lost his father early on in his teens, and then his mother basically lived with us. So they were pretty fine with it. But his side, I think, was a little more receptive. I haven't really had any felt any pushback for that. So I mean, I think they were more receptive just because of his family dynamic. It was already in his family, just one generation away. So it's, for me and my family, I was like the first. So it was like I was the example of,
I totally
what this.
understand that. It's very difficult to break that, that has been set in stone, like, generational mindset, like this has. So it's very difficult to break the mold unless you are the first one to perpetuate change. Okay, one of the reasons I actually picked this quote is because I find this relatable to many people. Even I also go through that kind of situation where at times I felt there's no light in my life. I felt like there's no hope, but I realized that the light is always there. It's just that you can see it. You can see the
Yeah,
light because it's blocked by some fog or mist. It's always there. So I always cling to that there's always hope, even though when everything seems dark, seems like there's nothing good at the end. I always believe that it's the sun because the sun is always there. It's just that we
yeah.
can see it. So that is one of the strongest point I want to say. Okay, now let's move on to your mermaiding passion.
Mhm.
Okay, so as a merman, do you do it as more as a recreational purpose, or is more like a self-expression for yourself?
Um, For me, it's a few things for me. For me, it's kind of it's an excuse to go and create beautiful things because I love doing that. And I think the like going out publicly, becoming Merman Onyx is for me. I wanted to put out content that represented my community. That was something that I did not find. And when I did see it, they weren't necessarily, I felt like the quality of what I was seeing wasn't quite there. I don't even think that I'm quite to the point where I like what I'm putting out so much on my own. When I pay someone to photograph me, I love those. But again, I'm still working on the imagery. For me, it's really about the imagery and representation. Um, like my thing is, and as a business owner, and when I'm searching for merchandise for our store, um, as a person of color, right? I constantly look for myself in other things that I can't find. So, for instance, we do Christmas really big in our store, and when I go and I look for ornaments, I don't find ornaments that are necessarily representative of people of color. So, and I know that that merchandise is not going to just magically appear. Someone has to demand it. If they don't demand it, if they don't create a demand for it, then it will never be there, right? It will. Part of what I do is in response to what I see in the world or what I don't see, right? You have to be the change, right? So if I put out content that may encourage someone else to also put out content, or take that leap and become a merman or mermaid. That's really why I started to put it out publicly and then created this Mersona. Um, yeah, that's pretty much why I do it. It is recreational. I do it for the community. You find just creative people in this world. These beautiful, full personalities, because we're all a little strange.
So I
um,
saw
and,
on your Instagram that you posted a lot of photos of you underwater.
mhm.
Are you able to swim with the tail on, or like do a good swim, or it's just like for photo shoot purposes only? Can you swim in
Oh
the
no.
tail? Absolutely.
When my first little like meetup with I was with Icarus. I don't know if you've seen his post. He's fabulous. He's like Morpheus. He found me on Instagram and was like, "Hey, come out and swim with us." And I went out and swam with them and met a bunch of like great Mers. And they're like so fluid and like beautiful moving through the water. And me, as a competitive swimmer, right? I'm just like, I need to go fast.
I know. I always
I
seen
was
the
moving.
yeah, I know. I've seen the videos of them swimming fluently in the water. I wonder how they do it. I was like so impressed. Um, yeah, because I've seen a lot of mermaids. They have a lot of purpose on becoming mermaids or mermen. Some of them just want to take photos because it looks really good with the tail. It looks very interesting.
Mhm.
But they don't know how to swim. But some of them they know how to swim, and so I find that most of them they do a lot of different things like they do it for photo shoots, for birthday parties, for shows, for conservation, for education. So there's actually a lot of purposes. So this whole mermaid community is very interesting because they have so many kind of functions and purposes. So from
Yeah.
what I can see from you, it's more like you are trying to get people to see you as yourself, as a merman. So people will know more about what it's like to be a merman, that they want to be a merman, just like you.
Yeah, and it's also about encouraging people of color, specifically, Black kids to um, be interested in the water, you know. It's something to like bring them forward, to like be curious about. And for me, that's really important. When I'm out and about, if I'm at a hotel swimming, you know, you're gonna get approached by children, you know, because that curiosity is there. The Little Mermaid, everybody knows the Little Mermaid, right? And they want to come up to you, and me looking like this, right? Doesn't necessarily, for most people, is not very welcoming because I am something that they don't see very often, right? Me being present and being in the moment and connecting with those individuals give them an active picture in their mind of what a black man could be, or you know, that we are approachable, that this face is not something to fear. Um, a lot of what I do, and like me, and my husband gets really annoyed when I'm like, oh, I gotta take a tail, like we're gonna go stay for a weekend in Monterey or wherever we might be going. I'm like, oh, I gotta take a tail. You know, he knows I'm gonna be in the pool at whatever hotel, and it's gonna be like this scene, right, that goes down because
So you actually wear a Mertel in the public pool in the hotel. You actually wear it in.
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
And until they tell me that I can't be there, then yes, I'm going to be in a tail.
Okay, that's
But
interesting.
yeah,
Because if I were to see, I'll be like, wow, there's a mermaid or merman in the pool, in the hotel pool. That is like something you don't see every day.
yeah, yeah.
Something very
I
interesting.
mean, for me, I do it like, you know, to wind down and to relax and, you know, get a good workout in. But I know if I'm there too early, then I'm going to encounter someone else, you know, and it will be at that point, it's going to be an educational thing for the people that you interact with, because you're going to have parents that might be like freaked out because their kids are basically going to be climbing all over you because you're in a tail, and you know they think you're there for their entertainment. Um, so you have to like, you know, turn the switch and, you know, turn on your happy, bubbly self, to make sure that they have, you know, they have a good time, and experience with this mermaid, you know, this fictional being, you know, there, you know, of their cartoons and, you know, animated fantasies, you know, so you have to live it, you know, you're kind of forced to live it. And me being present and available for those experiences, I think make a world of difference. Because the kids don't come with a filter, and they also they don't come with all the baggage that adults do. So a lot of the time, the kids are fine, but you are educating the parents on something that they wouldn't have encountered on their own unless you actually, you know, you were there, you were present, you know.
I like
I
what
don't
you
know.
mentioned about representation. Like you say, not a lot of black men do this, right? So,
Mhm.
so actually, in regards to that question, there's actually the Disney's Little Mermaid live action movie
Right.
that has Bailey Berry Halle
Bailey. Yeah.
Berry. I'm confused. Yeah, Halle Berry,
Bailey.
the first
Yes.
black to be a mermaid. So I think that's a very good representation. It shows that we're open to representation. So I think that's a good step. Yeah. So that there's diversity in movies, and people can see themselves in you, in her. So it's good. I think it's good. What do you think? Do you keep track of the movie? I mean, have you heard of that movie?
I
And
do. I do follow her. I'm not like super involved. I see the little chatter about it, but I'm just waiting until it comes out. You know, we'll know when it comes out. You know, how much of our community is actually in it. It could just be her face, which is great. Seeing her face, being in it, you know, that's wonderful. You know,
to me, the most important thing of casting the character for Ariel in the movie, the most important thing for me is the voice. If she can
yeah,
sing it, she can hit it. That's it. That's it for me. She,
exactly. Yeah,
the voice is the most the singing talent is it has to be there.
yeah.
That's the breaker. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to
Uh,
believe in what I see, and yes, they got to have it all.
they
Yeah.
gotta have it, especially the voice. That's the most important part because the
Hmm.
mermaid is about the voice. The mermaid with the voice. Um, what does your family and your partner think about you doing this mermaiding? Uh,
Um, my family, for the most part, they're like, "Oh wow," I mean, they're used to me doing weird things. So again, I went to art school, so painting my fingernails and coming in with blue hair and just being wild. That's just me. I don't do it anymore now that my hair has gone gray. I have these natural highlights. It's amazing. But my family, they're just like, yeah, that's Brandon, whatever. My partner, I don't know. I think he's kind of on the fence. He doesn't, I don't think he likes the attention so much. But he has a good laugh when I get mobbed by kids. And, he's just like over in the corner of the pool, just cracking up while I'm just like having to entertain. Um, so I think he gets a kick out of it. I love the fact that, me being a photographer and having all these images and, him being more involved in that side of me is great. The images that I posted in Maui of me on the beach, like all the beaches, those are all shot by him on my phone. So he's picked up the eye, which is great because it's a lot cheaper for me to get good images because he's like taking the pictures.
and
So
he's good at it. I saw the photos. It's really good. It's well done. Yeah.
yeah, a little bit of
Like your,
direction, and
your
he's
husband, photographer.
yeah.
I've seen a lot of photos of you posting in Hawaii, in Maui, Hawaii. Is there a reason why you chose that spot? Is there anything that draws you to that place, or it just happens that you went on vacation and how did
That's
it come
where we were.
about?
Yeah, that's where we were married. So that's technically our honeymoon. And, I made him work on our honeymoon. I lugged that big, heavy tail around everywhere. That was one of my goals. We decided not to have like a huge wedding, and then we couldn't because of COVID. We decided to do a destination wedding, and it was in Maui. And I'm like, we had been there before on our fifth anniversary. We were there and I knew like the beaches, and I was like, oh, we have to go to these beaches. So I had them like that. They're on my list, and I'm like, I have to go to these beaches. We took a day and we just drove around the entire island and hit all the beaches that I wanted to be photographed on, and there we go. I have tons and tons of images I still haven't posted. It's just we did it at a time where it wasn't like perfect lighting. It was like midday because we slept in. And so the sun was so high. So it's a lot of editing to get it to look nicer. Not perfect, but nicer. My face is really, really dark in a lot of them, because of the harsh, light. But yeah, that's why I did it is we were there. So I can find beautiful spots everywhere I go. I'm strange that way. Even if it's like, I don't know, garbage all over the ground, I'm gonna make something really cool out of it. That's just, I'm like, I see things that are a little off, and I don't know, just the creative brain. That's
How
just,
about in San Francisco where you stay? Is there any beautiful spots there, like beaches
oh,
where you
everywhere, everywhere.
everywhere?
So I live along like the San Joaquin River, so it's we get fresh water and salt water mixed coming in from San Francisco down. It wraps all the way to Sacramento. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but the wetlands here are really, really gorgeous. I haven't photographed enough in them. For me, the hard part is like getting someone willing to go out there with me, right? So that's the
Your
struggle.
husband can go with you.
Yeah, it's a struggle because we're so busy. We both have jobs, and then we have our store. So we have another job that demands so much time, and then you have all of your passions, the other things you want to do. So we're constantly just like, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
It's just,
have you watched the Disney's Little Mermaid, the animated version?
yes, it's been a while, but yeah, I've watched it. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do this. Pick one character. Sebastian, Flounder, Ariel, King Triton, Prince Eric, Ursula. Pick one.
Um, of course, it's divine. It's Ursula. I
Ursula.
mean, she's the biggest personality. She's unapologetic for who she is, and she's like full on. Like you're getting 100%. Yeah.
Everybody loves her. Everybody loves her. Yeah.
Yes.
She's like the anti-hero. Usually people choose Ariel or Sebastian. For me, I would choose Sebastian, I guess, I think because I love the way he did the rendition of Under the Sea. Like, you know, the jazz, the Jamaican kind of vibe. I like it. It's kind of
So
relaxing,
yeah.
chill. So yeah. Do you have any favorite mermaid or merman movies that you actually like? Um,
Um, I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on that. I really um like She Creature is good. Because she was dark and mysterious, and
Isn't it like a horror movie? I think I recall
oh,
watching
it
that.
is.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it
yeah.
is.
Oh yeah. I think I
Um,
watched that. I don't.
and then and like she's beautiful and just alluring, but so like strong, but you don't know that, and the way that they first kind of like see it, you see her, and then boom, you see this like powerful being. I also like the scary ones, like the creature from the deep. He's not really mermaid, but it's a lake creature. It's scary, um, water themed. I don't know. I kind of like those kind of things. Yeah,
I
not so
kind of
much the
like
pretty.
I kind of like Disney's Little Mermaid cartoon, but I kind of outgrown it in a way. So I'm hoping
Mhm.
that the upcoming live action will do it justice. Like maybe better songs, better script. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. So do you have any tips for newbies, like merman newbies, they want to become merman? Do you have any tips for them? They're starting out.
Um, for me, I mean, because I'm basically just starting out. Um, I think for me is I would say after most of my experiences being in front of the camera, um, it's a matter of slowing down, and slow down and focus on the movement. And
Slow down and focus on the movement. Okay.
right, and that would be my advice. I think when I got into it, it was a lot of, for me as athlete. For me it's about like power and like moving, and but when you slow it down and you find that grace and that balance and that buoyancy, it's like a whole different world. It'll unlock so much for you with your mermaiding. You'll feel your body and your extension, and I think that's where the beauty comes in, and that's where the lure really comes in, where people kind of like, oh wow, so
I like what you say. I like what you say about slowing down and focus on it. I would call that being in the present moment, like staying
yeah.
present in what you do. So that's very good. That's very good. I like that. That's very good. Okay. So next question is: do you have any other passions besides mermaiding? Any other things that
um
you do?
yeah, I mean, so I'm passionate about I don't know, I'm passionate about like creating beautiful things, um whether it be like a beautiful image, a floral arrangement, a beautiful piece of furniture. Those are the things that I'm really, really into, or designing a really like beautiful space. So I'm lucky enough to have a personal business where that allows me to be creative, and also to help other people also find that creative thing within them, whatever it might be, however it might take shape. Um, that is, yeah, that's kind of like
That's
one of my favorite things, is to like show someone who's
beautify
like, oh,
things.
I'm not
Beautify
creative.
things. Yeah,
Yeah,
making
I'm
things
not creative at
looks great.
all. Hmm.
Yeah. You say you mentioned in the beginning that you were doing furniture, right? Like repurposing furniture. So I
Yeah.
guess you have to use all those artistic skills that you have to turn it into something that is aesthetically pleasing to people, like
Yeah.
using art form. Yeah. All right. So this question I think is really, really something that everybody can sort of relate to at this moment because we're going through a crisis, worldwide crisis, the pandemic, COVID-19. I'm also affected, and I know that your side is also affected. So is it affecting, is the COVID-19 affecting your mermaiding or remaining in any way?
Yes, because it like the pools that I normally swim in, like you couldn't swim.
Same
They were
here,
closed.
same here. Yeah,
Yeah.
the pools are
Um,
closed right now here. Yeah.
yeah, and so now everything is kind of opening up. Thankfully, one of the clubs that I belong to, they have a very shallow, a very shallow pool, but it's it was available to me. It was a little difficult to like schedule a time to be there because they can't have so many people. You had to be ready or get ready on the deck of the pool. You couldn't go in the locker rooms. It was just it's like you had to jump through hurdles just to do something so simple, something that you really
Yeah, I
took for
know.
granted. Yeah.
They say that this is becoming the new norm. So hopefully with the vaccination, have you been vaccinated or you have not? Like,
I have been vaccinated. I do work with the public, not only in my 9 to 5, but also in our store. We see hundreds of people. We felt it was really, really necessary for us to be vaccinated. I also have older women that work in our store, and to protect them. We really had to make sure that we were covered. So yes, I have been vaccinated. It was part of the thing even for our wedding. A lot of my friends work in the medical field, in healthcare, and so my wedding party, everybody was vaccinated. My mother actually caught COVID, and
oh,
it was touch and go for literally 2 months. It was touch and go. Her lungs still aren't back to where they were, but yeah, it's definitely been a tough time. We've had quite a few people affected by it. Um, yeah, and unfortunately, we did lose one of our family members, but it wasn't directly COVID, but due to COVID, they just fell into a dark place and they just gave up. And those are our older people in our family, and it's just when you don't have that ability to go and do what you want and to experience your life, and you're kind of locked in, as we all were, and some people still are. It really it really brought some people to a really dark place, and unfortunately, I think because a lot of people, you don't think about how much, let's go back to the light, how much light that you actually bring to other people. So when you're not in contact with those people and they see you, it really starts to affect their psyche. So it's always important to check in with the people you love.
yeah, I know
Make
because
sure
it's
that.
also affecting the way where I stay. Like a lot of people are losing their jobs, or people are affecting their mental health. It's really you cannot do things like what you did in the past. Like even right now where I'm staying, you can't even go out to dine. There's no dining in allowed. You only can do takeaway. So we are hoping for that situation to ease. And at the moment, I've not been vaccinated yet because right now they're giving priority to the elderly, and I'm
Right.
not the elderly, so I can't get it. So, but I'm very excited about my vaccination, so I'm waiting for it. So, because vaccination also means a sense of freedom. Once you're vaccinated, you're able to go out without having this kind of trepidation, worry that you might catch the coronavirus. So yeah, I've
Right.
never been so excited about vaccination before in my whole life. I'm always a bit scared of having those needle, but yeah, vaccination is very. I find that vaccination helps because with this, then we can start to move the economy and move on with our lives. So I think that's a crucial step.
Yeah.
And the last question I'm going to ask you is, what are you doing for your mental health at the moment?
My mental health. um, I think based on what we've had to do with COVID, for me and like our business, we really had to kind of take a step back and kind of refocus the way we do things so that we would be okay. And unfortunately, we taking on something like your personal business, and I'm blessed to have people that rely on the business for, to live. So making sure that those people are okay and making sure that we are doing, everything that we can to make sure that the business is still there. That has been a challenge. So for me, taking a step back, again, slowing down, focusing on, what is in front of me instead of like all the things that were mixed into, has really, really kind of helped me deal with not being able to move about the world in the way that I used to. Yeah, that's pretty much like, yeah, just slow down and focus on what's in front of you
Slow
and
down.
checking in with them.
That's good. So for me, what I do is that I try to have a balance of doing things. Like sometimes I watch Netflix, and sometimes I can overdo it. It's not really good to be in front of the TV for long periods of time. So at this moment, I sometimes go jogging as well. I go outside to the park. You're allowed to go jogging as long as you maintain social distancing, people around you. But you can go to the pool. The pool is still closed, but you can go jogging. So I go jogging and I do some writing, and also I spend my time talking to people like you to have conversations about it. Yeah, because I'm planning to have a conversation with people, a specific topic regarding mental health, like what can we do during this pandemic for our mental health. So I think that's very important because people are suffering mental health all over the world. So I think this will be helpful to people to find a way to cope with it. Yeah. So I do writing, I go jogging, I watch Netflix, I have a balance of it. And occasionally I'll spoil myself eating ice cream. You know, do what I love to do. Just do what you love to do. And like what you say,
Yes.
slow it down and focus on the present moment. I think that is very important. Yeah.
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 Is there anything else you want, any last words you want to say before we wrap it up?
Um, uh, let's see. I think it's let's go back to the whole COVID thing because we're still dealing with it. I think for anyone out there, check on your people, check on your tribe, your loved ones, your friends, your distant friends. You never know what they're really going through, and just you being present and breathing with them could do so much. Yeah. So check in on your people.
Check in on your people. Check in on your people, everyone. Check in on your people.
Yes.
Because you can see what people are going through. Because the facade, you can't really tell because it's all inside. So always
Right.
check in. Love that. Love that. Okay. Thank you so much, Merman Onyx. Thank you so much for your time today.
Oh,
Really,
thank
really,
you.
it was a pleasure having you today. And I hope all is well for you. I hope everything goes well for you. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
and
also
you as
want to
well.
thank everybody for joining us today. Thank you so much. I hope you guys learned something from Onyx today, like everything about what we mentioned today, mental health and also passion. So thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.